welcome back to the PBC Pelican Bay Corner, where I give y'all that dog talk, fair and unbiased, raw and uncut. Some gonna like it and some ain't. We got some dog news today, and then we got a couple topics that we're gonna touch on like we always do. Some of the topics going around the community that I see brothers are interested in talking about. We're gonna talk about them, and just get down to it, man. But I want to say a big shout out to all the brothers and sisters down in the chat. Everybody that's watching the video, and if you're not down in the chat, everybody that always watch the videos that maybe never participate in the chats. Much appreciation to you. Big shout and much appreciation to all the brothers and sisters that be donating to the channel. First thing I'm gonna speak about, we're gonna get a little bit of this news. We got a man that was mauled by two pit bulls. Not just mauled by him, he was jogging his dog. Him and his dog was jogging, and he had a problem with another fella, and the fella sent his two so-called pit bulls to attack the man. So we're gonna get into that article first. Down in Florida, that happened down in Florida. One thing I want you to look at is, and I always say this, when something happens, when somebody get bit by a dog, it really don't matter what the breed is. At the end of the day, I always say practice responsibility. In this case, this guy was totally irresponsible if he sent his dogs to attack the man while he was jogging with his dogs. It showed that he don't love his dogs because, for one, most likely your dog's going to get seized. If you sick them on somebody like that, they're going to get seized and you're not going to have them no more. And then secondly, you're going to get arrested. So we're going to get into that article. It's two blue dogs. When you see the dogs, you'll tell that they're not American Pit Bull Terriers. They're American Bully dogs. And like I said, which don't matter. But in cases like this, when a man sends his dog, especially a bully dog, to go attack you and your dog, I wish that brother would have had an American Pit Bull Terrier, and then he would have taught that fella to leave your dog home. You know what I'm saying? He would have taught him to leave him home. Or you would have had that problem. You won't have that problem next time. You know what I'm saying? So what we're going to do, we're going to get into that article first, and then we're going to get into a South Carolina dog fighting arrest, and, maybe talk a little bit about that. And then I want to get into Tombstone Bolio. Do Bolio need Tombstone? Is Bolio carrying the Tombstone line? All these years was Bolio carrying it. Did Tombstone make the Bolio dogs better? That's a question, my bulldoggers out there can answer. Did Tombstone make the Bolio line better as far as Tombstone Bolio? When they came together, did it make a better line than just your Bolio dogs? That's what I want to know. Or is the Bolio dog carrying the Tombstone dog all these years? When we see Red Boys, Jocko, and dogs like that, right? We see Red Boy was making great dogs. Jocko was making great dogs. But when the lines came together, it made better dogs. More well-rounded dogs. So, does the Tombstone Bolio, does the Tombstone rather, makes the Bolio line better by coming together as Tombstone Bolio, Bolio Tombstone? And we're going to talk on what I seen a brother post about the blue dogs, because we was already speaking about that over the past 3 or 4 videos. We're going to speak about that as well. We're going to get into talking about the belling stuff, because that's the only camp that I've seen running the blue dogs and actually saying that they game bred dogs, the belling club dogs. So we're going to take a look at some of their dogs, go back in the pedigrees and see where these dogs come from, the pedigree wise, So y'all sit tight, man. Like I said, let's get into this news article first, and then we're going to get into the South Carolina dog fighting arrest.
Where a man is recovering after he says he was attacked by 2 pit bulls during an evening run in Wynwood. Now, we're going to show you some images, but we do want to warn you, some of what you're about to see is graphic. Well, he says it began as the dogs were charging at his dog. He jumped in, of course, to protect his dog, and that's when he says he was bitten on the arm while trying to pull one of the dogs away. A witness video captured the man bleeding on the ground, and video from Olean-Dade also appears to show 2 pit bulls off leash with their owner.
Off, and I got in the middle, got the other off. I got my arm, badly bit.
The victim says the dogs were deliberately ordered to attack him, leaving him with serious injuries. Police identify the suspect as the man here on your screen, 44-year-old Jonte Jack. He was arrested and is facing several charges.
Like I said, man, we always got to practice responsibility when it comes to the dogs out here. Once you sick your dog on somebody, and they can tell the police that you actually sick your dog on me, it ain't nothing good coming from that. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, these dogs can actually kill people and stuff like that. So it's not like, oh, I'm sending my dog to punch you in your face and come back or something like that, man. The dogs can actually hurt somebody and take their lives. And then you're talking about more than one dog in this particular situation. A stupid move like that can really cost you a whole bunch. If you don't got no money, maybe you might be a person that feel like you broke and don't got no money. But doing stuff like this can put yourself in a situation where when you do make some money, they season that money. You owe so much because you hurt the dog. The man might want to get civil fees and stuff for the dog being hurt. You never know, man. So just be responsible. If you got a problem with somebody, I always say it, handle it with your fist. Handle it with your fist, because sicking a dog on a person, a dog is a weapon. A deadly weapon at that. So sicking a dog on a person, man, you might as well stab them or do something else. It's gonna get you the same amount of time. But let's get to this South Carolina dog fighting situation, where another arrest was made in South Carolina when it comes to dog fighting. And I'm gonna let y'all get to this article. I don't got nothing really to say about it. All I got to say about the whole South Carolina ordeal is, man, it's to the point now where all these folk, when I say folk, I mean the arrest that's being made across the whole South Carolina, not just this particular subject. All these folk making up stuff to take your dogs, and I always say, if you're doing something wrong with your dogs, then I understand, what's going on. But just for anybody, and I'm not saying that this happened in this particular situation. I'm just talking about in general. For the law enforcement to just look at you with a lot of dogs and then come to your house and say, oh, you dog fighting. That's not right, man. America's supposed to be the place where, the land of the free, the great country of America. It shouldn't be this type of stuff going on because of a dog. If you fighting, that's different. I understand it totally. I understand that totally, but if you're not fighting, this shouldn't be the country where the law enforcement make up stuff on you. People in the community supposed to be able to trust the law enforcement. But when you look at all the arrests that was made sometime, man, like I even heard, this happened in another situation where they couldn't get the drug warrants on the fella who they was looking for. They couldn't get, they didn't have enough evidence to get the drug warrants, so they made up something about the dogs and went over there. And like I told you before, when you go search for the dogs, it's just like searching for a drug search warrant. You're still searching in the same areas in the house. They'll check your drawers, check this, check that, or whatever. Checking your closets, checking everything. Same place they look for drugs when they do them dog search warrants. And to get a dog search warrant, from what it seems, they don't need much. So it's just crazy out here, man, when it comes to these dogs. I always tell brothers, do the right things when it comes to these dogs. That way you have a fighting chance. You know what I'm saying? If you love the breed and you want to preserve the breed the right way, stay safe and stay legal out here, man. Stay safe and stay legal. And I'm saying that to say this. I'm not saying that these brothers or sisters in this particular article that we're about to check out wasn't staying legal. I'm just talking about to all my people that watch my channel in general. You know, stay safe, stay legal, and you can preserve the breed the way you want to preserve the breed. Enjoy the breed the way you want to enjoy it, and enjoy your life, man. And stay out here with your dogs, you know. So without talking furthermore, because we're going to get into some of this Bolio talk and the Tombstone stuff. Without talking anymore, let's get into this news article. South Carolina dog fighting situation. And a lot of times, man, like I said, you know, and I learned this from my case. You know, you don't got to be dog fighting. I tell brothers that all the time, man. You don't got to be dog fighting, you know. But just look at it like this. This is another thing I noticed. Once these folk get your dogs and they take them to the vets, you could have been there and gave your dog all the shots he's supposed to have, anything that he was supposed to have, from fleas to rabies to all that stuff. But they give him to the vet to do the checks and stuff, to take them through the little checks that they do in between when they first get them or whatever. And you still end up with a bill from $500 to $1,000, from $500 to $1,000. It's not right, man. You take my dog from my house. My dog has been fully vaccinated. He's had all his shots. He's been wormed. He's got his flea treatments. He's got rabies shots. And you take him from my house, take him to the vet where they do the same thing over again, and then you charge me for it. And then when these brothers have 20 dogs, 30 and 40 dogs, and you talking about $500 a piece, $500 to $1,000 a piece, and that's just the first few days. You know, if you got your dogs back in the first week, $500 to $1,000 a piece at 20 to 30 to 40 dogs, you tell me how much that is. You know, a whole lot of money that most people not gonna spend, and the average person can't just kick it out like that. You know? So let's get into this dog fighting situation, man. And like I always tell brothers, y'all stay safe, man. Y'all stay legal and do the right things with these dogs out here. You know where you got it from first, the PBC, Pelican Bay's Corner, where I give it to you. Fair and unbiased, raw and uncut.
All right, so the scene on Friday, what can you tell us?
So, well, first of all, good morning to all of you, and thank you for spending the time with us this morning. It's very important for us. First, we'd like to acknowledge that animal cruelty investigations are very concerning and emotional for the community. It's actually heartbreaking. We understand why everyone has a deep, deep care for animal welfare, and we share in that. Our priority throughout this investigation has been the welfare of the animals while maintaining the integrity of all of our evidence and all the information that we've gathered to make sure that we can carry this case through the court process and ultimately do convictions on all these charges that today. We also the community member that gave us the anonymous tip that got this started. That's huge. That is often the first step in helping the most vulnerable in our community that don't really have a voice for themselves, in this case, the animals. Again, the investigation started after this anonymous tip. This was received by our environmental services unit, and that's within the Horry County Police Department. For several months, investigators from our agency and multiple divisions within our agency, in addition to the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, have been gathering evidence, documenting different conditions, recovering, our focus has been on recovering animals safely, obviously, and building a completely comprehensive case. The work that resulted in the arrest that we announced on Friday that you just spoke of, and that was July 17th. The initial warrants that we had were for criminal conspiracy that our case had brought us to that point. And that was conspiracy for the ill treatment of animals from the start. and that led to probable cause to obtain search warrants for the following locations. We had 2 areas at the 3000 block of Rainbow Drive in Longs and 1 at the 2000 block of Sunny Heights in Longs. Completion of these search warrants led to evidence and additional evidence for the case and probable cause for 2 additional search warrants that day for 2 locations off of, 100 blocks, generally the whole street for the most part, but Babe Lane, which is off of Rainbow Road in Longs. Jamar Chestnut has since been obviously transported to jail, and he's been charged, in addition to conspiracy, with 33 counts of felony ill treatment of animals, 26 counts of animal fighting baiting, and 1 count of possession of firearms and ammunition by a person that's unlawful as being a felon. 58 dogs were seized as a result of our investigation on Friday. This is still very much active, and as we continue to review evidence, additional charges are likely, and we're also looking into some additional suspects. Can't say enough about this. Friday's arrests are the result of collaboration, professionalism, and relentless efforts from multiple agencies and community partners to help recover the animals that are involved in this safely, get their health prioritized, and hold the violators accountable ultimately. Investigations like this cannot be rushed. They require coordination between specialized investigators, partner agencies, and prosecutors so we can build the strongest possible case and see through to conviction. We appreciate, again, all the support we received from South Carolina Law Enforcement Division and the Horry County Solicitor's Office from the very beginning. They've been by our side, and it's been amazing. We also greatly appreciate all the support from all of our local partners, local, state, and federal, and community members as well. Our expectation is that those responsible are going to be prosecuted to the fullest extent, supported by all the evidence that we've obtained so far. And the biggest thing for us here is we encourage anyone that has any information, just as this particular community member did, to please reach out and get that to us. That's huge. I can't overstate that. Community members play a vital role in helping protect both our animals and our communities and neighborhoods. This investigation so far demonstrates what can happen when law enforcement, animal welfare organizations, prosecutors, veterinarians, and the public all work together. Chief, would you like to speak?
Absolutely.
Of our relationships.
Gotcha. Good morning, everyone. I'm Chief Chris Leonhardt, the Horry County Police Department. That's KRISLEONHARDT. And again, I would just like to reiterate a lot of things already spoken by Captain Buckingham. Her and her team did a wonderful job in this case. It is still a very active case. We, again, appreciate all the support from the community. And it goes back to how important those tips are. Receiving the tips that we receive on a daily basis help us be those eyes and ears in the community, give us the direction to look at certain crimes that are occurring in our community. So it's vitally important that we receive those. Again, I'd like to thank all of our partners in this, our SLED partners, as well as the partners that have stepped up to help us with the animals as we continue this investigation. We are also very thankful for Solicitor's Office, Mr. Jimmy Richardson and his team, as we continue to work through this process and this investigation. Again, it's been months in the process, and it will take some more time to continue to gather all the evidence for this case. But I want to thank our teams here as well on the great job and dedication they have to serving our community and bringing this case to the forefront as far as getting charges made in this case, getting these animals out of these conditions, and really responding to these comments and concerns we have in the public. So, with that, I guess we'll take any questions you may have.
You said about dog fighting. So do you guys know if there any betting, gambling going on with that?
While we don't have any direct information related to that right now, it is very commonly associated, yes.
And did you guys find any dead dogs? I know you rescued 58. Were there any that died?
We did not find any that were dead, no.
Now, the Chief just mentioned the conditions the animals were rescued from. Can you, as best you can, explain or describe the conditions of these places?
The animals themselves had, the condition of them was consistent with neglect and trauma. each dog is currently receiving veterinary care. Our priority is making sure that they receive treatment and preserving evidence along the way as best we can while they're being cared for.
Where are the dogs now? Will they be available to adopt?
So the dogs right now, again, just this is an ongoing investigation. So they are with rescue organizations that are helping get them evaluated, get them medically treated, and ultimately, as far as adopting them back out, that's quite a process that will take professionals a little bit of time to do. Every single dog is different, but ultimately they're evaluated and they're really cared for by behavioral specialists as well. That will, some tend to get through that process a little bit quicker than others. Some can be adopted, others it takes a little bit longer, a little bit more therapy.
What are some of the challenges handling an investigation like this?
So this is a massive underground network. This is pretty much organized crime. There are a lot of moving parts and it's very well hidden, and that is generally by design. They like to do things, there's a lot of movement, and again, historically, there is definitely a nexus between narcotics, gambling, and other violent crime. So there's just a lot of moving parts, and it generally stays hidden.
Speaking of, I was out at the crime scene on Friday, and I noticed that there's a tree line, and we had people coming in the tree line, going out of the tree. It's just a lot of moving parts. It seemed like it was a large scene. Was this a large scale? I mean, are you guys checking multiple different like sheds back there? What's the scene like that you can speak to?
Yeah, so just like you guys saw, there were areas within the woods. There were some buildings, and all of those included in the search warrants. Different areas to check for evidence for sure.
You said about other suspects. I know when I had been there on Friday, some people I talked to in the area said a lot of their family lives there, and some of them were one of the people arrested. So are these suspects also potentially live in this area, or can you not say?
We can confirm that co-defendants in case that have already been arrested are related. But again, an ongoing investigation, there are potential for additional suspects to come forward as we uncover evidence, but we're still working on that.
Can you speak to the breed of dogs involved?
There were mixed breeds in the groups that we seized.
No ages or anything?
I do not. I can tell you that there were adult dogs and puppies. There was a range there, but all of that will also be evaluated during their medical treatments and reviews.
Was there any, were they breeding the dogs at all, do you know?
I think it's still early in the investigation to determine if that is truly being done there. That will take some time to evaluate.
Now, you mentioned this being like a ring, a wide network. Is there any connection with this investigation to a previous one in Horry County a couple months back? SLED was involved there, or any other dog rings or animal mistreatment in the county or outside of it?
While I can't confirm that this investigation in particular is connected, we can confirm that Jamar Chestnut has been arrested in the past for dog fighting and ill treatment of animals. And as far as being related to others, again, it's ongoing. There could be connections in the future, but as of right now, we do not have that.
Now, that does lead me to my next question. With that charge for Chestnut back in 2023 with the dog cruelty, how does that work for offenders once they've served their time or been charged? Is anyone checking in on them afterwards to ensure that they don't have animals in their care, or if they do, that they're treating them properly?
Yes, so we do follow up. And again, because of the organization and network involved, they tend to move around. There are a lot of moving parts, and that really is part of it. So it can be difficult to keep up with them. That's why we rely on the community to give us these tips. It's extremely helpful, very, very important.
How long, is there any indication of how long those dogs were in Chestnut's care or care?
It would really be hard to tell at this point because, again, we're still evaluating ages of the animals. But I mean, I don't think at this point we'd be able to give you that information.
I want to err on the side of caution in asking this, so if we just want to not, then let's not. But can you speak to what the tip was?
It was for ill treatment, the mistreatment of animals and dogfighting.
Okay.
Now, as we were waiting to get in here, Ashley mentioned to us that there were a lot had changed over the weekend. Can you speak to what those changes are, or if you've touched on them today?
Sure. Earlier on, I mentioned that Mr. Chestnut had a few extra charges. Those all stem from the evidence that we got through the 5 search warrants on Friday.
Were all 58 dogs seized from the crime scene media was aware of on Friday, or were some of those dogs seized from the other additional properties? I know you mentioned Beyblade.
I'm not aware of which locations the media was notified of on Friday exactly. I can tell you that animals were seized from multiple.
We can take one more question.
Do you guys have one?
You guys have any?
I've got one.
Okay.
What's the major takeaway when all of our viewers and readers tune in and check this story out later today? What's the major takeaway? What do you want people to know when they tune in?
The biggest takeaway from this, again, public safety, it's a shared responsibility by the community. These anonymous tips and information are a huge help in getting these cases solved quickly and helping us protect the community and protect the animals that are involved.
I would just like to echo that is basically the community's voice matters. It matters to us here at Horry County Police Department. We take every tip seriously. We evaluate them. And now we're seeing the fruits of that. We're seeing a months-long investigation result in charges, and we're able to rescue animals that were in a terrible, terrible situation.
Great, thank you guys.
Cindy, do you have something much different?
Quite.
Okay.
Any idea ballpark? You said all 58 dogs are currently receiving vet care. Any idea ballpark how much that's going to cost the county?
I can't say at this point. I know that that's something else that is a continuous process, so that's not even finalized at this point.
And that can vary too. A lot of our rescue partners jump in and donate some of their services. Obviously, there will be some charges as far as that's concerned, but it'd be hard to put a number on it at this point. Yeah.
Cool. Great, thank you guys.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Good work, Captain Dunn.
I got one question to ask the dog community. What's the big deal? What's the big deal when it comes to dog name changes? What's the big deal? If I sell you a dog, John Demery, if I sell you a dog, and you decide you don't want to keep that same name, what's the deal? That's not my dog. I sold you that dog. I sold all rights of that dog to you. And everybody don't think like this. This is the way I think. If you gave me the price that I want for this dog, or if I give the dog away and I don't want the dog anymore, I give him away. And his name is Booger. I may feel like Booger is a well-known dog. But if I give him to you, or if I sell him to you, what is the problem with you changing his name? Oh, his name got to stay Booger. If I was so worried about his name staying the same, I should have kept the dog. Once I put that dog in your hands, once I give him to you, sell him to you, you have all rights to do what you want with that dog. Brothers in today's time, when it comes to these dogs, are real funny acting when it comes to changing the name. But they don't want to keep the dog. Once you get rid of the dog, you got rid of everything that belongs with the dog, including the name. I may not like the name Booger, so I want to name him something else. It's really not that serious, but at the same time it is. Because like I said, if you wanted to keep the name the same, you should have kept the dog. Once you release the dog to me, I don't see where you should have a problem with the name being changed. Only in today's time, only in this modern day dog game is this shit a factor. that this shit matters. Only in today's modern day dog game, because back in the days, brothers don't care. If you want to change your name, if I made this dog famous and you want to change your name, brothers wouldn't care. You think if Victor sold Mayday to somebody or got rid of Mayday, didn't want Mayday no more, you think he would have cared that you changed the name from Mayday to something else that nobody knows? That's you. If you want to go from a well-known name to an unknown name, that's you. When they try to slip Mayday on David Tant, you don't think they used a different name for Mayday? And that was Victor them had him then. You don't think they used a different name for the dog? Up until he realized that that's Mayday, that's the dog right there. One of my yellow dogs. Only in today's time will name changes matter. You know, I'm not looking for you to make no name for my dogs. You coming to holler at me because I made a name for my dogs, and you want one of them dogs that you think is great or you think is good. So you coming to holler at me. It's the way it should be. And like I said, it can be any of the old school famous dogs, Jeep or whoever. You think them old schoolers, if the dog, you know, in reality, dogs like Mayday, dogs like Jeep, dogs like Red Boy, dogs like Bolio, and them dogs, as far as the bloodline dogs, you know, a person would have bought them dogs from different people, and no, they wouldn't have cared about trying to change the name because the dog is so famous already. Now, Patrick did change Bolio's name, but he was a stolen dog. We're not talking about a stolen dog. We're talking about a sold dog. You know, for the names like Grand Champion Yellow, Mayday, Jeep, Red Boy, Rascal, the average person is not going to change them names because the name is already well known. But if you give me a dog that's name is not well known, and you expect me to keep the dog name the same, even if I want to change the name, you asking a little too much. You know? The game don't work like that, man. It's like you want me to still be pumping and how can I say it? Pumping and representing the name that you gave the dog. Like I said, I may feel like I don't like that name, and I may feel like I got a name that suits him better. Name change don't mean pedigree change. You see, you got a lot of flunkies out here in this dog game that do a lot of talking and a lot of commenting on Facebook, places where they matter at, you know, places where they can be heard at. But out here in the deep waters, out here in the ocean where the sharks at, salute to the whole shark tank out there. You know what I'm saying? Salute to Going Hard 1 and 2, Mo and Mike. You know, salute to all the bulldogs out here in the ocean, out here in deep waters. You know, that shit don't matter, man. And brothers make stuff out of nothing when it comes to that type of stuff. It shouldn't matter. You know, like I said, if I sell Mellow Yellow to you, I'm not supposed to have no hissy because you changed the name. I don't give a damn how old she is. The papers may not recognize her name being changed. You know, as far as ADBA. But if you had a way to change the name on the paper, you're not changing the pedigree, still got the same breeding up there, you just change your name because maybe you got more pull with the paper registry than I do. What am I supposed to do? Have a backflip, cut a backflip because you changed Mellow Yellow name? If I wanted her name to stay the same, I should have kept her. And I gotta say it again. Some reason with these dumbfounded bulldoggers in today's time, you know, they feel like a name change mean a pedigree change. No, name change don't mean a pedigree change. And like I said on my last video, some of these dogs that y'all worrying about name changes with, you didn't breed the dog. You bought the dog. You bought a dog from somebody and named it something, sold the dog, then the dog name got changed, and you acting like you bred the dog. The dog pedigree didn't get changed, like I said before. Make a name, and that just go because people want to use everybody to make a name for their shit. When you gotta make your motherfucking own name for your dog. If you make a name for your dog, you won't worry about what the hell they making a name with. Long as they ain't out there getting in trouble with it, they can do what they want to do with it. I'm making a name for mine. I tell y'all all the time, Mellow Yellow is the most famous dog coming off of yellow in the world that's living today. Tell me, if I'm lying, tell me somebody different. Tell me a different damn dog that's living today, that's straight Grand Champion yellow, no damn Bolio or none of that other stuff in it, straight Grand Champion yellow, that's more known than Mellow Yellow. Okay, now I ain't said she's the best Grand Champion yellow dog, you know, because I don't know what's all out there. And I'll be a fool to say she's the best Grand Champion yellow dog. But she mine, so she the best. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to represent my stuff. But most known, for you, any of y'all that's watching this video, to say she ain't the most known Grand Champion yellow dog with no Bolio, no Tombstone, no Jeep, no straight Grand Champion yellow. She ain't the most known Grand Champion yellow dog in the world right now today. You're a fucking liar. You're lying to yourself. You know? And that's the problem with the dog game. You don't want to give props when props due. You don't want to acknowledge the real when it needs to be acknowledged. You always want to talk about and lollygag and speak about stuff that don't fucking matter. As we get into this Tombstone Bolio talk and this blue dog talk, let me ask you this first when it comes to these blue dogs and game dogs. You know, like I said, everybody entitled to their own opinion. I check the comments out a lot of times when it comes to these blue dogs, and brothers still in denial. You know, pit bulls don't come in all colors. Pit bulls come in a lot of colors, but they don't come in all colors. Now, when you're talking about the blanket term, pit bull, they come in all colors. Every color in the spectrum. A blanket term pit bull do. But a real American pit bull terrier don't come in all colors. Now y'all hit that like button up out there, man. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You know, all right, this is the first dog we're gonna look at when it comes to the bell and stuff. And like I said, we about to talk about the Tombstone Bolio as well. But this dog is Grand Champion Soga, or Soga, I guess that's how you pronounce it, Soga. Bell and Club. You know, and I got the pedigree right here. We're going to pull it up and we're going to look at, you know, the dog pedigree breakdown. And this is a great looking dog here. This is a great looking dog when you talk about structure and color wise. You know, Sport Dog Journal, Philippines, still don't you believe there were blue American Pit Bull Terriers back then. You know, I don't know how far back then was, but this dog here ain't from back then. And why we can't compare these dogs today's time and say, oh, because a well-known camp got it, that means they was back in the days. Everything that was here from back in the days, we got pictures of it for the most part. Not everybody dogs. You know, we got plenty of bulldog people who had dogs that we don't got pictures of. But like I said before, if people like Mr. Charlie Lloyd was breeding blue dogs, had dogs that predominantly blue pit bulls back in them days, these dogs' genes will be in our dogs today's time, and they will be producing dogs. You will see blue dogs in all these pedigrees, from Jeep, the Red Boy, to Eli, to Rascal, Bolio, all these dogs will be having blue dogs in them. All these bloodlines will be having blue dogs in them. You know, you don't see it. Everybody doing tight inbreeding, everybody doing these kind of breedings, this kind of breeding, that kind of breeding. Mr. Kobe ain't had no blue dogs. You mean to tell me one of the most prominent breeders that American ever saw up until this date wasn't breeding blue dogs, but they was out back in the days? You see, even the sporting dog journal and these new sporting dog journals are being sponsored by overseas breeders. You see, they go into that line shit, you know, go into that line stuff. The same way I told you about how them ship dogs, ship a champion, his sister of them champions, and different ones offer him champions overseas. When it comes to America, that shit was a fad. Came in and went out. Fast as it came in, fast as it went out. But needless to say, let's get to the pedigree of this dog, Grand Champion Soga. Bell and Club's dog. Bell and Club is the only camp known for breeding blue dogs or having blue dogs off the game dog bloodlines. Out of all the breeders across America, Bell and Clubs. And I'm not even sure if they're in America or not. And they're not in America, that's even more of a red flag. Because we as Americans, we have some type of guidelines sometimes. We got some integrity sometimes when it comes to these breedings. You know? So let's look at this pedigree when it comes to Bell and Club Saga or Soga. You see Soga right here. Champion Soga. Now, matter of fact, all these names that Soga got, these names that come from Bell and Club, they're not a United States breeder. This is a foreign breeder. I don't know if it's in Mexico, Europe, or where, but it's not United States breeders with these names on their dogs. All right. Now we're going to just check out a few dogs. Let's look at this dog right here. He's a black dog. Veneno is a black dog. No color or picture for the dam. No color for that one. I'm just trying to, click on some of the ones that's lit up. Maybe hopefully they grand champions, and they don't got no pictures of the dog. It's another red flag. Grand champion, no picture of it. Now you don't see no dog, in the background right here outside of this morphing stuff. And that's the stuff that's in that Mexican Eli. You see Carver name right here. Carver name. How many of y'all brothers got them Carver dogs, got blue dogs in y'all Carver stuff? How many brothers that got the Klaus dogs, got blue dogs in their Klaus dogs here in America? See, I'm telling you, you got to look at stuff for what it really is. And you used to give people benefit of the doubt. You can't give the benefit of the doubt no more. You got Crenshaw Fowler right here. Red dog. It's a red dog coming off Crenshaw stuff. Cottonham Bullet, Plumber's Pilot, and all that stuff. But needless to say, it's a red dog. See it right here. Red is in the color. We know ain't no blue jeans in that dog. Now, we know this dog right here is a red dog. This is an American bred dog. Mr. Boudreaux dog right here. T-Bell, we know what color T-Bell is. T-Bell is not a blue dog. But we also know Mr. Boudreaux dogs, when bred certain ways, will produce a blue colored dog. All right, we know that. And the rest of these dogs is foreign dogs. So let's see what Bellis Ulysses, the very top of the 4th generation. Let's see what Bellis Ulysses come off of. A whole pedigree of unknown. The whole pedigree of unknown. You don't know who Ulysses, well, this is Ulysses 2. You don't know who Ulysses is coming off of, neither the damn Anza is coming off of. But y'all are overlooked that, you know, to say this is a legitimate color dog. This is a legitimate pit bull because the camp is a well-known camp. If it was a blue to get, and these blues, these blacks was making blues that produce blues, then everybody would have them in their pedigrees. That's all I got to say about that. Everybody would have them. And we still talking about the champion Soga dog. Let's go to the T-Bell morphing stuff. That's Eli, Crenshaw's Reno, Blind Billy back there, Carver stuff right here, Long's Tuffy. So we still haven't got into the blues yet. You mean to tell me out of all the breeding Mr. Earl Tudor did, he didn't get no blues that we know about? Not that some that y'all want to assume. We ain't assuming. We ain't here in this dog game to assume shit. We only going off documentations and proof and pictures, you know. And like I said, we know that the dogs can produce a blue colored dog. But what we don't know, and we haven't seen it yet, is when they produce puppies, litters of puppies that are blue colored. So I'm never going to jump on that wave that say, oh, pit bulls come in all colors. Yeah, they come in certain colors. There's about 6 or 7 colors out there for them dogs. You got your different shades of red. You got your white. You got your black. You got your brindle. And then you got your buckskin color and your brown color. And all shades of red. From blind red noses, orange color, chocolate color. You know, you got your cow patch dogs. But you ain't got no blues. And you ain't got no merles. And like I said, let's go to Bellins Pajo. Another male, no picture of it. Pedigree full of unknowns. Pedigree's full of unknowns. And I bet you this dog right here that you're looking at, how can it be ADBA registered? How can this dog be ADBA registered when there ain't no color for the dog on the registration form? You know? So yeah, y'all want to take that shit. Y'all want to accept all that stuff like that. Oh, these dogs this is the color it's supposed to be. This is the color it's supposed to be. Then that's y'all. I'm from the old school where I know better. You know, I know better, and I know that the dog don't come in that color. I'm trying to get some pictures of some of these Bellin dogs. And I'm going to pull up some of the other ones because they got some more blue dogs. And let me see if I can see any where the dog's coming off looking blue at. Another male, no pictures. Bunch of bully son. Eli stuff. Crenshaw, Diablo, Rojo. Carver's Cracker. Fitzwaters, Goldie. All these old school breeders, and you telling me Bellingham, the only one that got blues off these old school dogs? Everybody in the country got these old school dogs. Eli, Carver's Cracker, Fitzwater's Goldie, the Crenshaw Stu Fowler. Everybody, we all got these bloodlines, Bully son, but we ain't got no blues. But Bellin got blues. You know, Bellin got blues. So let's look at the pet again. Let's look at the pet again. The Soga dog. I can't find one blue picture of a blue dog in the pedigree, but I know they got more blues. Let me try to pull up another. Let me try to pull up another Bellins dog. Where they may have a picture of the dog up there. Give me a few minutes. All right, we got black dogs. We ain't worrying about the black dogs. We worrying about the blue ones. Black nose, black nose. Coming off Crunchfield Art stuff. Tell me Art throwing blue dogs? You ain't got no blue dogs out of all them dogs. And I keep telling you, since I've been looking at pedigrees, since I've been showing y'all brothers and sisters these pedigrees, just this one pedigree that I've been on today, Bellin Club, had more unknowns in it than all the pedigrees that I looked up combined over the past 2 weeks. The dog with the blue stuff, or the camp that got the blue dogs, got more unknowns in this one pedigree grand champion Soga than every pedigree I looked up over the past 2 weeks put together. Trying to find another blue Bellin dog, because they're the ones that had the blues. Crenshaw name, Crenshaw. Morphin. Crenshaw morphin stuff. All that cotton bullet back there and all that Crenshaw Reno. It's the last one I'm looking at. Yeah, it is what it is, man. All these black dogs. I can't find them now, you know. To the brothers that know the Bellin dogs, far as the blue ones, drop the pedigree down in the chat, and I'll put it up on another video. You know, if you know the blue belling dogs outside of the Soga dog. You know, it's too much sporting dog Philippines. Send this book here to American brothers. They get over here dick riding. They get over here start talking about, oh, the Filipinos bulldogging more than what the Americans bulldogging. Filipinos bulldogging more than what Americans. Man, dude, y'all boys must be sick in your damn head. You can't, every week, every other couple weeks, they busting somebody for bulldogging in America. How big is that country, Philippines, compared to the American state, the average American state? How big is that country? Come on, man. Stop giving every other country credit and trying to knock the American bulldoggers. When I keep telling y'all, brothers and sisters, when these dogs get shipped over here and these brothers take them and they go out and put them in different type of working activities, they don't hold up to what the reputation was before we got them. You know, oh, they doing this and they doing that in Europe, or they doing this and they doing that in Mexico, but they don't do the same thing in America. Oh, it's legal in Mexico. It's legal in Europe. It's legal over here. It's legal. But when we hear the news, they're telling you about arrests that's happening in these countries that you're talking about is legal in. And this is just part of the program to try to normalize them blue dogs. That shit ain't normal, dog. This dog here don't look no different than a blue bully dog. They look good, you know, cut the reels back a little bit. Face-wise, no different than a Staffordshire. And it look like a Boudreaux dog if it was black. Red Boy Jocko dog if it was red nose. It would. But this is not the going color. Now, I'm not going to say this dog couldn't be this color, but show me this dog offspring to say his offspring is this color. When you find you one that's producing blues, then they got some blue in the blood somewhere or another. You know? Now, let's get to talking about this Tombstone Bolio real quick. We got enough of them blues. Tombstone Bolio. Did Tombstone make the Bolio dogs better when it comes to their bloodline? Would you rather have a Bolio dog or a Tombstone Bolio dog? You know, and this is only opinionated answers. Did the Bolio need the Tombstone to excel? You know, me myself, my opinion, I don't think they needed Tombstone to excel. You know, I think when you got the dogs without the Tombstone in it, you got better dogs, in my opinion. Let's go to Buck. Let's go to Buck. And let's go to some of them Tombstone, them Bolio bred dogs. Let's go to SDP Grand Champion Buck and see if he got any Tombstone in him. See if he got any Tombstone in him. Yep. So we see Tombstone right there, and this is not the right pedigree, because he's not off Golden Boy. Buck is off Little Tater. We done heard Mr. Patrick say that already. So this is not the right pedigree. Let me find the one that got the right pedigree on it. All these wrong pedigrees. But needless to say, if he's off Red Lady, then he got some Tombstone in him. He could be off. He could be off another dog other than Golden Boy, and he could be off Taylor and Red Lady, but he's still gonna have Tombstone in him right here. Now, what I want to do is look at the Tombstone dogs without the Bolio in it. See if I can find any Tombstone dogs without the Bolio in it, and see how that fared. This is Tombstone himself, and we may know, you may not see all the dogs that he actually produced in this particular pedigree right here, but we see the Anderson's Tonka dog, which we see in a lot of pedigrees. Crumb's Cremator, we see in a lot of pedigrees. Let's see what these dogs got in them, though. Tombstone, Bolio. So we got Bolio in there. We can't give Tombstone the credit for all that by himself. And we're gonna check Bolio champions out and see if all of them got Tombstone in it. We're gonna check all the champions that Tombstone got. Champion, Grand Champion, Hope. No Bolio in this one. Tombstone and Lewis Catfish. No Bolio. And this is a Grand Champion. Grand Champion Hope. Grand Champion Hope right here we just looked at. Champion Wilson's Crash. Bolio in it, so we can't count that one. Let's check out Allen's Austin Red, a two-time winner. Austin Red. No Bolio in him. He's a two-time winner. So far we got one Grand Champion and one two-time winner of Tombstone without the Bolio. Champion Cremator. Champion Cremator, Tombstone Bolio. Bolio at the bottom. For the people that don't know what we're talking about and just coming in. We're trying to see if Tombstone was a better producer than Bolio, and did he make the Bolio line better by crossing the Tombstone Bolio stuff. So what we're trying to see is who produced the most champions without being crossed, Tombstone or Bolio. And right now we're checking Tombstone. We looked at Cremator. He was a two-timer. So we got one Grand Champion and two two-timers so far. That's the Crash dog we just looked at. That's the Hope dog we just looked at. Cremator again. Uptown Snubby. Champion. Tombstone Bolio. Okay. Was Bolio the carrier of the Tombstone line? What I mean by that, did he bring Tombstone along and didn't need Tombstone the whole time? Carried Tombstone along just to give him a better name, is what I mean. You know, Champion Wilson's Tuffy. No Bolio in this one. So we got one champion, one Grand Champion, and two two-time winners so far with no Bolio in them. It's the Hope dog again. Marduk's Voodoo. Tombstone. Tombstone. Well, actually, this is Tombstone's brother. Half brother, same daddy, different mamas. No Bolio in this dog. And it's a two-time winner. We got three two-time winners, a Grand Champion and a champion, without having the Bolio stuff in it. Now let me go to Bolio. and see how many he has without tombstone in it. All right. How many? And if they don't got if they're not grand champion or two-timer, we'll look at the famous name dogs. Let's look at Bull Boy. This is Bull Boy. Everybody heard of Bull Boy? Bolio, no tombstone. No tombstone in this dog. So that's one, a rum dog with no tombstone in it. Bull Boy Bob. No tombstone in it. Let me check back in this back here. Make sure none of these cloth dogs and yeah. These dogs back here don't got no tombstone in it. So Bull Boy Bob, no tombstone. Bull Boy, no tombstone. Champion Handsome. Probably got tombstone in this one, just looking at it right off. Yeah, we got tombstone in that one. All right. Patrick's Red Baby. No tombstone in Red Baby. Clark's Dogs, Tacoma Al Blade, all Blaze, Clark's Young Keto, Clark's Stable. Check the stable dog out. No tombstone. Check the Champion Dogs Tacoma. No tombstone. A lot of Tacoma Jack stuff. But it's a Bolio, Patrick's Red Baby. All right. So we know Red Baby, Bull Boy Bob, and Bull Boy don't got no tombstone in them. Grand Champion Darius. Grand Champion Darius, but it got two-time winner right here. You know, I don't know who be making these pedigrees up. And then it's coming off Bolio on the bottom and Jocko on the top. Yeah, I don't know who be making these pedigrees up right here. That's how you know we got to be careful what you're reading out here, man. These brothers setting the game up for you to fail. Setting the game up for you to fail in. Champion Red Sambo. Grand Champion Red Sambo. Coming off Bolio. No tombstone. Let's check out Patrick's Tater. That dog don't got no tombstone in it at all. So that's Grand Champion Red Sambo. No tombstone, but got the Bolio in it. Kincaid's Rollo. All Bolio, no tombstone. That's Kincaid's Rollo, no tombstone as well. Two-timer. So we got Rollo, Darius, no tombstone. And these is the title dogs. Ford's Mancha. Burton's Hank in that bad baby. We got Red Baby right there, so we know it ain't no tombstone in there. Burton's Hank, we know he ain't got no tombstone in him. No tombstone on the top side. So that's a champion, another champion, no tombstone. All right, we done checked the Red Sambo. We checked Kincaid's Rollo, Bullboy Bob, Red Baby. We done checked Handsome out. We about to look at Idi Amin. And we're going to look at Robinson's Greb. That's Tombstone Bolio. For the ones that's looking, not understanding what Tombstone Bolio it is, it's coming off this male dog that says Tombstone somewhere in the pedigree. And they got to have this male dog that says Bolio name somewhere in the pedigree to be their Tombstone Bolio cross. Idi Amin, Tombstone Bolio dog. Idi Amin right here, Uptown's Idi Amin. All right, Robertson's Greb. Bolio Eli, no tombstone. And truthfully, tell you the honest truth, I believe Bolio Eli dogs made better dogs than the Bolio Tombstone dogs. In my opinion, the Eli Bolio cross was a better cross than the Tombstone Bolio. So that's why I say, did Bolio carry Tombstone? Lewis Princess. Princess dog. Let's see if she got any tombstone in her. Princess, no tombstone in her. Myers Black Dago. See what Myers Black Dago off. No tombstone. Kobe stuff. We getting too far back past tombstone. You know, no Kobe. Claws dogs. Claws dog. I mean, no tombstone. Claws. So we got Champion Lewis Princess. No tombstone. Bolio dog. Champion Lewis Princess right here on the offspring list. Patrick Kramer. Some reason they ain't clicking on that one. There you go. Got no tombstone on this pedigree. We got Dabo back there, Rascal, Blind Billy. That's going back to the Dabo stuff. Blind Billy's going back to Dabo or the Spike dog. Let me see. Dabo. All right. So that's Patrick Kramer. No tombstone in it. And let me check out this very last dog down here, Kincaid's Princess, to see if this is the same princess that I checked from above. Bolio, the Faith, Stable, that's the same dog. No tombstone. Same princess though, from just different name. Owner, just different owner. So at this point right now, you know, we see these dogs with no tombstone in them. Now, out of all these dogs that I looked at, I'm gonna check out maybe two of the most famous dogs in this list right here. And that'll be Bullboy Bob and Red Baby. And we'll see when that tombstone start being crossed into the dogs. We'll check out Bullboy Bob offspring first. I know he got more offspring than this. Mason's champion hammer. They threw the boomerang in it with more Bolio on the bottom. No tombstone. Threw the boomerang, which was your carver stuff, carver dogs, and they threw more Bolio on the bottom side. And that's Mason's champion hammer. And we're looking at Bull Boy Bob offspring. Now I'm gonna go to another one to see if Bull Boy Bob got more offspring than this right here. Let's check out Patrick's Little Tater. Little Tater, which is Buck. This is Buck's real daddy. STP Buck. This is Buck's real daddy. This dog right here. But it don't matter because Buck still got the tombstone in through his dam. Bolio, claw and stuff. No tombstone. Let me go to try to find another Bull Boy Bob. See if I can find another one that got a bigger offspring list. That's the same list. All right, we got a bigger list right here. Bobby Thrift's Bobby Jr. See if they got any tombstone in it. Thrift Bobby Jr. All Bolio dog. That's the only dog. That's the only dog that's up here that's got any titles on it. The Bobby Jr. dog. Boyles Bobby Jr. Same dog. All right. Let's check another Bull Boy Bob out. One of these other ones, Bull Boy Bob, Rum. Let's check this one out, see if he ain't got no offspring, but that's Bobby Thrift Jr. again. So let me go back to STP Buck again. There go the real pedigree for STP Buck right there. No tombstone in this dog. STP Buck. Not a bit of tombstone in him. One of the best producing dogs coming down off of the Bolio stuff. Bolio daughter. Bolio bred his daughter to make Patrick's red. And then made Patrick's red lady. Got a little Zebo back there, but you ain't got no tombstone. No tombstone. So that makes me question, to wonder, to make my statement, did Bolio carry tombstone all these years? You know, did Bolio carry tombstone? And will you get a better dog if you get the Bolio dogs without the tombstone in it? So if you was looking at the other Bolio or the other STP buck pedigree, the fake pedigree, let's pull the fake pedigree back up. Let's pull the fake pedigree back up. Let me see. There go the fake pedigree. You got Tombstone in on the top, and even Red Lady pedigree is different. You see? Now this what goes back to Pat Patrick calling Fat Bill all kind of names. You see? You got to sweep around your own back door before you try to sweep around somebody else on. You're saying Fat Bill was this and Fat Bill was that, and you know, see, them brothers is from before my time. You know, so I'm listening to the stories. Pat Patrick, oh, Fat Bill this and Fat Bill that. But Pat Patrick, we have honestly not really seen any of Fat Bill dogs that he played with the pedigree on. Now I'm trying to figure out, let me go left real quick while I'm speaking about Fat Bill. Let me go left. Because see, Pat Patrick got a lot of falsified pedigrees in these dogs that really change the way the game is being, with the way brothers breeding some of their dogs, and you breeding this buck stuff and you think you got all this Tombstone in it, and it don't got no Tombstone in it at all. You see? But let me go left real quick. Fat Bill's Bolero. Oh, you telling me Bolero can be named Buzzsaw Patches, but Pelican Bay can't name his dog Saber 2000. Bolero and Patches is the same dog. You see? They don't erase it. They don't erase the Patches and put Bolero. It's all, you always see it together. The Bolero or Patches, whichever one you want to call the dog. What it means? Fat Bill had the dog first and sold it to Buzzsaw, and Buzzsaw changed the name to Patches. Or Patches or Buzzsaw had it first and gave it to Fat Bill. One or the other. Just another dog from back in the days. The breeder, Buzzsaw Atkins. Owner, Fat Bill. So Buzzsaw had the name Patches on the dog first, and Fat Bill changed it to Bolero. But needless to say, you don't see all them falsified pedigrees on the Fat Bill name when it comes to his dogs. And Pat Patrick had so much to say about Fat Bill, you know, and talking so much trash about him, but you don't see them falsified pedigrees up under his name. Let's go back under STP Buck again. All right, we know this is the falsified pedigree. We know this is the real one with Little Tater. No Tombstone in it. You see how the breeding program changes drastically when you got the right pedigree? From the wrong pedigree to the right pedigree, you see how your whole program changes? Now you don't got no Tombstone in it. But when you was breeding with the Golden Boy dog up here and the other Red Lady pedigree up here, you got Tombstone all over. Tombstone in the third right here and Tombstone in the third on the top. But like I said, this dog game here, and with these brothers in today's time, they used to playing follow the leader. They used to playing every man who had pit bulls back in the days is a legendary. You know what I'm saying? Legendary. And we got two pedigrees. We got Red Lady, who pedigree wrong, and Little Tater to the Buck Daddy, which Pat Patrick spoke about on his video. Now he making excuses for why he had the dog and why he had Bolio, You know what I'm saying? And why he was breeding and doing this. He had excuses for all that. But just like any other sport, you can have a Hall of Fame career, but when you make certain mistakes in your career, you won't make the Hall of Fame. You see how they taking O.J. Simpson out of the new Buffalo Bills stadium stuff? That new stuff they built in this stadium, the Hall of Fame stuff. They're taking O.J. out of that. He's not even, his suit, his uniform, nothing is in there. They let you know he played for them because of a mistake he made in after his career, just in life in general. So yeah, you can be a legend at one point. And what makes a dog man legendary? And I don't say this in no hate. I say this in reality. What makes a dog man legendary? Because he breeds pit bulls so you can buy them? What did a lot of these breeders do that a lot of y'all breeders in today's time not doing, other than the illegal stuff that we can't do? You know, we know they do that and we can't do it the way a lot of the old schoolers did it on the match wise. But hell, some of these breeders that y'all calling legendary don't even got no champions like that, to say using the Wild Wild West days. Patrick can't be credited for this Indian Bolio dog right here. Indian Sonny is credited for this dog. Whatever breedings Patrick did when the dog was stolen, he can't be credited for being a legend for breeding a stolen dog. Yeah, you made some good dogs to make you some money back in the days, but now that we know all these stories and we know the politics behind this, the politics behind that, those breedings that Patrick made with Indian Bolio, with Indian Sonny's dog, is not legendary. I don't care who they ended up in, what bloodlines they ended up in. You breeding a stolen damn dog. It's like y'all calling the brothers who stole Mr. Boudreaux's Eli dog legendary. Oh, they made some breedings. They made some breedings with Eli after they stole them from Mr. Boudreaux, and you calling them legendary. No, man. Because 99% of these brothers knew the dog was stolen. Mr. Patrick knew it was a stolen dog. The legendary thing for Mr. Patrick to do would have been to give Indian Bolio, Indian Sonny, his dog back. I'm not with that, brother. Here you go, your Bolio dog. I know we had disagreements. I know we didn't really get along on certain times and we had problems, but here go your dog back. I'm not with that. Now, if that's how the story would have went, yeah, boom. That's legendary shit. But y'all put legend behind people's name that's doing ordinary stuff that y'all brothers is doing. You know? Oh, this breeder is legend. This breeder, this... only thing a brother got to do to be called legendary was breeding pit bulls before you was in the game. And there's so many people that really ain't even bumped these dogs. So you give the people that really did bump them more credit than they deserve. If you was in the era where we bumped dogs and you seen and you went through that shit, you'll be crediting yourself. So, like I said, we looked at plenty of the Bolio dogs, and let's go to some STP Bucks offspring. Let's go to Abraham's Bull and see that they throw the tombstone back in it. Bobby Thrift Jr., Zeb, Alexander's Amos. No tombstone in it yet, but it went back into the Bolio stuff. They went back, put more Bolio in it, but they still ain't throw no tombstone in it. Let's go to Alexander Amos. That's your boomerang. All right. So we got Bolio boomerang in this one off the Abraham Bulldog. Let's go to Grand Champion Yellow Buck. Grand Champion Yellow Buck. They ain't need that tombstone in Yellow Buck for the simple fact They ain't need that Tombstone in yellow buck because they had something a whole lot better. Grand Champion yellow. Havana Boys Rodney in the pedigree. Yellow in the pedigree. Yellow John, I meant to say. Yellow John in pedigree and Grand Champion yellow in the pedigree. So you definitely don't need a Tombstone. And I probably would rather have a dog off this dog right here than STP buck. You know, more of my flavor. So we looked at yellow buck, we looked at Abraham's bull, STP's BB. STP's BB, Ozzie Stevens Homer. No Tombstone. Crutchfield Art in the back there. No Tombstone. And let's check out this Stone City Jedi dog. No Tombstone. Whole bunch of yellow and Jocko. Red Boy Jocko. No Tombstone. So like I said, this will be opinionated, you know, because you got your Tombstone fans out there as well. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, the Bolio did better without crossing it to the Tombstone. You know, one of your more famous Tombstone Bolio breeders is going to be your Mayday dog. You know, and let's look at Grand Champion Mayday real quick. See where his Tombstone come in at. Let's look at Grand Champion Mayday. See where his Tombstone come in at. Hollingsworth Dolly, Patrick's Lady in Red. Got Bull Boy Bob, Anderson's Tonka. That's where your Tombstone come in at. Anderson's Tonka. We know it don't come in on Little Tater. Come in on Anderson's Tonka. We know it don't come in on Red Baby. Well, let's check Red Baby out again. I might be in Red Baby. Yeah, no Tombstone in Red Baby. So it's coming in your Anderson's Tonka and Mayday. Tombstone Bolio, 50-50. Actually, it's a 50-25 Tombstone Bolio. 50% Tombstone, 25% Bolio in the Anderson's Tonka. Then you got this 25% of this Patrick's Goldie down here, which is neither one. So the Tonka dog is 25% Bolio, 50% Tombstone. What I'm about to do is actually see if Mayday even got any of the Tombstone blood in them percentage-wise anymore. You know, we 25% Tombstone, 25% Bolio, 50% Tombstone coming from Anderson's Tonka. Let's check out Anderson's Auburn. So that's Boomerang, Tombstone, Bolio at the bottom. All right, we got 25% Tombstone in this dog, bred to a no Tombstone dog. So we got 25, and Bolio, we a little further back with him. This dog here, Red Baby, is a 50% Bolio dog that bred a Tombstone. So that's 50-50. 25-50 actually. 25-50. This dog Holt's Ginger is another 25-50 dog. 50% Tombstone, 25% Bolio. All right. Now it bred to Carver's Redneck with no Tombstone in it. So that knocked the Tombstone down to 25%. And this particular dog, Anderson's Auburn, knocked Tombstone down to 25%. So when Anderson's Tonka, which is a 50% Tombstone, bred to a 25% Tombstone, Anderson Rose will go up to a 75% Tombstone. All right. 75% tombstone. Tombstone. Let me put my pedigree back up here. I lost my pedigree. Let me get my pad back up. All right. Like I said, Anderson's Tonka, 50% tombstone. Anderson's Auburn, 25%. Anderson's Rose will be a good 60 to 75% tombstone. Bred to Little Taylor, who is a Bolio dog, no tombstone. That knocks it down. We're going to knock it down to 50%. Lady in Red, say she's a 50% tombstone, 50% Bolio dog. All right, Lady in Red, bred to Yazoo's Cody, which is no tombstone. All right. Now, we get Hollingsworth Dolly. So Hollingsworth Dolly will probably be, maybe they probably got a lower percentage of tombstone in them. You know, between 30-some% tombstone. Somewhere around that area. Let me check this dog out here, Grand Champion. No tombstone in that dog. Hooks Rowdy in the 4th generation. No tombstone in that dog. So we had 75 of the rolls. We broke it down about 60 to 50-some% with this dog. After we bred a Little Tater, we went down a little lower, about 50%. We bred the Cody, we went a little lower, and we got Dolly. We bred the Yellow, we went even lower and got Mayday. So Mayday does have some tombstone in him, but he's not a 50-50 Bolio tombstone dog. But I guess you could call him Red Boy Jock on the top, right? That'd be Red Boy Jock on the top. And then on the bottom side, he's Bolio Tombstone, where the majority of the dogs being. We got Tombstone right there. So he's probably going to be about, like they said, a 50% Red Boy Jocko and 50% Tombstone Bolio dog. 4-way cross, what they could call it. In actuality, it's two bloodlines that came together to make one. Tombstone Bolio and Red Boy Jocko. Both bloodlines came together to make one blood. Y'all hit that like button up out there, man. Hit that like button up out there. Appreciate everybody that's down in the chat, everybody that's watching the video thus far. All I wanted to know, man, was your Bolio dogs carrying the Tombstone blood? Or is your Tombstone dog carrying the Bolio blood? Let me know what you think down in the chat, man, down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Would the Bolio blood not be as famous without the Tombstone? Would the Tombstone blood would it be more famous or not even known if it wasn't for the Bolio stuff? You know, that's all I'm asking. Drop your opinions down in the comments, down in the chat, man. I appreciate y'all rocking with the Bay. Just give you a little bit of dog talk for the day, man. Y'all stay safe out there with them dogs. Y'all stay legal and know where you got it from first. The PBC. And I'm out.